Welcome back to another episode of the George Manz Coins YouTube channel. I'm Terry Massey. We're here with George again. Thank you again for everybody who's decided to subscribe to the channel. If you hadn't, it's that little red button right below the video image there. We thank you for taking the time to learn more about numismatics. And today, George, you've brought us the Eastern Arctic Trade Tokens from the HBC Company.
Right.
Or as we call it, the Hudsons Bay Company.
Right.
So what can you tell us about those today?
Okay, well, in the 1600s and 1700s, fur hats made out of beaver pelt were the rage throughout England and France, and so they hunted beavers, and this is what a made beaver skin looks like after it's been trapped and skinned and dried and all that sort of stuff. And the First Nations of Canada and Métis often took the pelts to different fur trading companies, the largest of which was the Hudsons Bay Company, and there were other ones as well. The Northwest Company comes to mind.
It was the primary industry of Canada when it was first settled, was the fur trade, and not until as they discovered what Canada was.
The main reason why they produced these tokens in 1946 was because they wanted to introduce the Inuit to a concept of, instead of trading in furs for goods, they would teach them the decimal system, which Canada has had since 1858. Anyway, so they made them in 6 denominations. You've got your 5 cents, your 10 cents, your 25 cents, your 50 cents, and your 100 cents, which would be $1. They also had a one white fox, which is a square token. These are all uniface, meaning they're only printed on one side, and they're quite beautiful, and they're probably the most affordable Hudson Bay token money that you can buy, because they made quite a few of them. The most common ones that you can find are the 50 and 100 cents. The least common are the 5 cents. I would assume that the people of what is now Nunavut would have probably given their children these to play with. 5 cents. Well, 5 cents was a fair amount of money in 1946. But anyways, they certainly weren't going to give them these to play with, because you could really buy something with this. So these are the hardest to get, the 5s and the 10s, and these are the most common to get. The one white fox is a prime skin of an Arctic, often called silver fox, and that's so basically everything that you could skin, you would take to your Hudson Bay fort, and you would get money or tokens in exchange.
Would they be able to use this currency at other trading posts besides the Hudsons Bay Company, or just Hudsons Bay Company exclusive?
I would assume that they would prefer to have it exclusive. I would assume that some other places would accept it, but you'd have to go, often they weren't, the two companies weren't side by side. You'd have to go quite a ways to find the
competition.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how, introducing their own different currencies, or if it became more widely accepted than just exclusively with HBC.
So these were used up until 1962. And then they were pretty much discontinued, except for a few small forts that still continued to use them for a few years.
Wow.
And then they actually started using Canadian money, decimal money.
Was it just the decline of the fur trade, or was it just integration more of the Canadian currency into these places?
Well, I don't think the Canadian government was all that pleased that here you had this alternate money floating around, but we still use Canadian Tire money, and you can take it to Canadian Tire money, but you can't take it to Safeway.
Yeah, very good point. Anything else you wanted to tell us about the HBC?
No, I just find it quite interesting that these are not particularly old. 1946 is not,
No,
years ago. So,
and the token, when looking at the close-ups of the tokens, they look really like they're a machine punch, not anything unlike you would get at like a video game arcade where they have their own exclusive internal token system to use on their machines. They're very, I don't know if the proper term is crude, would be for how they, it's in terms of the, for what we've seen with other currency on this channel. They're very, they're very crude, and it's very neat that they, in my mind, that they were still using it up until 1962. So, perfect.
all right.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
George.
Yeah.